Good morning. Welcome, newcomers, members, and friends, to our worship service at Central Unitarian Church. My name is Susan Usatine, and I'm a proud member of the Central Unitarian Design Team and Music and Worship Committee. CUC is an inclusive community of all ages which embraces diversity in identity, expression, and spiritual belief. Many of our members and friends find inspiration, hope, and renewal with us. We hope that you find something meaningful in today's service. If you are visiting with us in person today, please be sure to say hello to one of our welcome hosts, Carol Hoffman and Bill Hoffman. If you would raise your hands, thank you both. If you're visiting online, we invite you to sign our guest book by providing us with your name and contact information in the chat at the bottom of your screen. We are grateful for all of those helping to make this service happen on this rainy Sunday morning. Reverend Andrée Cornelia Mall, Matt Anderson, our music director, and our stellar audiovisual team, Phil Sosinsky and John Freund. We ask those of you here in person to please silence your electronic devices at this time. And for those of you online, we encourage you to have your own chalice ready to light it as we light our chalice here in Westwood. During today's service, we are also holding our family faith formation programs at our 105 Fairview location at the Methodist Church. Today's programs include our K-6 Chalice Children program, our Coming of Age program, and youth group. After our service today, please join us for the annual CUC Holiday Craft Fair taking place right here. Enjoy crafts, yummy treats, and an opportunity to win our raffle. During the craft fair, please also be sure to stop by the table with our giving tree, which everyone here can see, the tree with the red bow on the back, where we are participating in a program to donate gifts to senior and disabled adults here in Westwood. We also invite you to stay after service for coffee and connection in this space. Our coffee hour this morning is hosted by the Outreach Auction. We have a lot happening at CUC this month. Hold on for a couple of those terrific happenings. First, this Tuesday, December 5th at 7 p.m. is our Blue Holiday Service for those entering the holiday after suffering a loss. The service will be held here at the clubhouse and online. Next, we will be holding our all-ages winter spiral service here in a few weeks, and we need help with the setup. Join us on Friday, December 15th from 5 to 7 p.m. in the sanctuary as we create our winter spiral. We'll have food and sweets while we work together. All are welcome. Susan Gempler and Stu Couch are also hosting an all-ages solstice and winter welcome celebration on Saturday, December 16th from 3:30 to 5:30 in Van Saun Park. And they're here in the front if you would like more information. Give a wave. Thank you, Stu and Susan. There is a sign up in the back. Our annual Christmas Eve service will be held down the street at the Westwood Community Center at 7 p.m. on the evening of Sunday, December 24th. We will not be holding morning services that morning. No morning services on December 24th. We are asking that you take a moment to register for the service through our weekly e-newsletter or the December bulletin. Your registration will greatly assist our planning team in preparing for the service. Also, Reverend Andrée is looking for volunteers for Christmas Eve day at noon setup. Please see Reverend Andrée to volunteer. Also, you can still order poinsettias to help decorate our Christmas Eve service space in honor of a loved one. The deadline is December 8th, so be sure to make your order soon. I also received a very important announcement from Jeff Merrigan this morning concerning the UU Outreach Auction, which kicked off last night and is off to a good start. Please check out our robust catalog at uuoutreachauction.org. There you can bid on items in our catalog or donate directly to our 6 charities. If you would still like to make a donation, please see Jeff Merrigan. Jeff, if you would give a wave, there he is, and he will gladly accept. The auction will run through next Saturday, December 9th. And now, let us more formally begin our gathering. Please turn to a person next to you and offer them a warm welcome.
Welcome. Exactly. All good. Thank you. Welcome. Welcome to Phil when he's in the Good morning. This month, throughout all of the services and holidays we observe together here at CUC, our theme is mystery, with a capital M. Today we open the question, what role does mystery play in our lives? What would our lives be like without it? And in what ways can we cultivate it? So we open with these words by the Reverend Dr. Rebecca A. Savage. As people of faith and wonder, we welcome in the delight of mystery, the awe of unfolding adventures, the expansiveness of what it means to behold mystery as a gift of the imagination. Too often we relax into routines, find comfort in old habits, and give in to the confines of our lives. In this time of worship together, may our hearts be nudged open to what may be. May our spirits be wrapped with curiosity to seek mystery and welcome her in. May our time together this day remind us to stay open, stay inquisitive of what we do not yet understand, and be inspired to stretch ourselves into new ways of being. Welcome, mystery. Welcome into our hearts and into our time of worship together. And in that spirit, I invite you to join us for our opening hymn, which is number 37 in the Gray Hymnal. This is one that even Matt and I were not super familiar with this. So Matt's going to play it through once, and I invite you to rise in body or spirit. One thing that I will mention is I just recently found out yesterday that if you are standing in the back, it's hard to see this screen. We will work on this, but I also want to repeat something I said yesterday, which is, this is the first time I've heard of this, and we've been in this space for 4 months. If something about our service is not accessible to you, please tell me. We take accessibility in all its forms very seriously here at CUC. So if something's not working, please tell us. And if you see it not corrected, tell us again, because maybe we thought we corrected it. So please don't suffer in silence. We want to be inclusive. So for today, if you can't see it, we've got the hymnals out. Number 37, Matt is going to play it through for us. God fills the
Now let us join our voices in unison as we speak the chalice lighting words. We light this chalice to remind us of our dreams, to nourish our heart, mind, and spirit, to work towards the whole for all, to embrace the whole of our human experience, to honor our past and our gifts of the present, to create a community where each of us may find healing, transformation, and hope.
I have a story I want to offer today. This one is called I Wonder, written by Annika Harris and illustrated by John Rowe. Ava loves to look for the moon. It follows her from place to place, disappearing behind the trees and mountains, and then appearing somewhere new. Look, Mama, there it is. The moon looks so beautiful in the sky. How do you think it follows us, Ava? Ava thinks about it, but she just can't figure it out. It's okay to say, I don't know, says her mother. When we don't know something, we get to wonder about it. I wonder if the moon and the earth are friends, says Ava. Her mother smiles. I like that idea. But Mama, how does the moon stay really close to us? There's an invisible force called gravity that pulls all the things in the universe together, Ava's mother explains. Gravity keeps the moon close to Earth, and it keeps the planets close to the sun, too. They circle around like this. Ava understands a little better, but then she starts to wonder, Mama, where does gravity come from? I don't know, Ava. Nobody really knows for sure. And when no one knows the answer to something, it's called a mystery. A mystery is something for everybody to wonder about together. How fun! Ava imagines herself wondering about gravity together with all the people in the world. Ava watches the moon disappear behind the clouds as she walks, excited to see where it will appear next. How many grains of sand are in the whole world, Mama? I wonder about that too. There are trillions and trillions of grains of sand, but nobody knows exactly how many. Ava tries to think about all the sand in the whole world. It feels so big, I can't even fit it in all in my imagination. It makes me dizzy, like I'm falling. I know what you mean, her mother agrees, and I'm sure other people feel that way too. Ava walks down another path, looking for the moon, and a little orange butterfly appears. Then she notices there are butterflies everywhere. Mama, where did all these butterflies come from? These butterflies have been flying around for a few days, but they started out as little caterpillars, and those caterpillars came from eggs, and those eggs came from other butterflies. There are cycles all around us, with one thing ending and another thing beginning. Things are always changing. Can you think of other things that change? Clouds, frogs, and me. I love the illustrations in this book. Ava and her mom out on their walk. Later, Ava wonders, Mama, what was here before all the butterflies and frogs and clouds? Before everything? I don't know, answers the mother. It's another mystery. I like trying to imagine what was here before the beginning of everything. What do you think was here? And Ava says, smiling, I don't know. She thinks about it for a long time, and then she has an idea. I wonder if there were feelings. As she walks home, Ava sees the moon again, glowing brightly above the roof of her house. Let's go inside and look for the moon through the window. We live with some big mysteries. When we come upon one, we're given a little gift. Every mystery is something for all of us to wonder about. What do you wonder about?
We are able to fulfill our mission here at Central Unitarian Church through the generous contributions of our members and friends. Your financial gifts help us to maintain our operating budget, which includes paying our staff and for our programming. If you can make a financial contribution today, your gift will help ensure that CUC continues to be a vital part of our lives and this community. Let us again join our voices as we speak our dedication words. We dedicate these gifts in service of our mission to welcome all into a home of spiritual diversity that challenges us to become our best selves, to minister to one another in love, and to serve the greater community.
I invite you into a moment of mystery. I'm going to invite you to consider a source of mystery that remains with you each and every day. I invite you to place your hand on your heart. Feel your heartbeat. How does it feel to you? Is it fast? Slow? Is it faint or strong? How does it feel to pay attention to this part of your body that plays a crucial role in giving you life? Each day since you were born, it has dutifully carried out its job, one beat at a time. Bringing nutrients to your cells and carrying away what is not needed. Perhaps for you, this hasn't always been the case. Perhaps your heart has needed help. Perhaps doctors, through the miracles gained by science, have aided your heart with medications or repair. Perhaps the heart you have now is not the heart you were born with. And no matter what aid has or has not been provided, no matter how it might have changed throughout your life, your heart remains truly miraculous. Creation of this living universe handed down to us through millions of years of evolution. A collection of cells structured together in a unique and specific way without which we would not exist as the beings we are today. An organ we share with each and every other human being alive on this earth. With each and every human being who has ever lived. With each and every human being which is yet to be born. And the thousands of other species that call this planet home. We've learned how it works and why it's vital to our bodies. We can explain how it has evolved. And we can still consider it a wonder. We can hold it in reverence, just as we might do for our lungs, our limbs, our eyes, our brains. Each of these is a wonder of existence, evolution, and creation, together forming something even more miraculous. Us. And as we go about our lives, as we gain wisdom and knowledge, as our attention gets pulled in 1,000 different directions with 1,000 different demands, may we never lose our sense of wonder. And when we do lose touch with it, all we have to do is place our hand on our heart and let ourselves yet again be filled with the mystery. take a time to share together our joys and sorrows of this community. This is something that we do each Sunday as a way to care for each other. I have a few joys and sorrows which have been submitted ahead of time. I will read those out loud, followed by the joys and sorrows of those that are online. So for anybody online, take some time now to write your joys and sorrows in the chat if you have any you want to share. And then I will turn back to this room and ask you all to share out loud the names of anybody else you're holding in your heart today. We'll enter into a moment of silence and prayer. But let us prepare ourselves. Let us hold on to that meditation we were just doing, that heartbeat that connects us and connects us with all living things as we move into this time of holy listening and sharing with each other the joys and sorrows for this community for Sunday, December 3rd, 2023. All these joys and all these sorrows, both those spoken and those unspoken, let us hold them together in our hearts as we enter into a moment of silence. Spirit of life, oh great mystery. There's much we've learned as a species, and there's much we have left to learn. And there's much, much more that we do not understand. May we not close ourselves off to your great power, filling us instead with wonder and awe, reminding us of our place in things in this vast, great universe in which we are blessed to experience life. Blessed be. Amen. I invite you to remain seated for our next hymn, gathered here, number 389 in the Gray Hymnal. It's a short hymn. We're going to sing it through twice.
Our reading today is by British-American poet Denise Levertov and is entitled Primary Wonder. Days pass when I forget the mystery, problems insoluble and problems offering their own ignored solutions. Jostle for my attention, they crowd its antechamber. Along with a host of diversions, my courtiers wearing their colored clothes, cap, and bells. And then, once more, the quiet mystery is present to me. The throng's clamor recedes. The mystery that there is anything at all, let alone cosmos, joy, memory, everything rather than the void. And that, O Lord, Creator, hallowed one, you still, hour by hour, sustain it.
within this vast, expanding universe, which is billions of years old and which is billions of light years long, there exist billions, maybe trillions of galaxies, which in turn hold approximately 200 billion trillion stars. All of this unimaginable immensity, among all of this, there exists one particular star. And around that particular star orbit 8 planets, one of them orbiting at just the right distance, not too close, not too far, to sustain conditions for life as we know it. And when this planet was a few billion years old, life emerged. Simple at first, but over billions of years on this blue planet, that life evolved. And in this chain of evolution, about 200,000 years ago, our species was born. Now, over that time that we have been around, it is estimated that over 100 billion humans have lived. And out of all the places in this massive universe, out of all the moments in the deep time since all of this began, you were born. You were born a specific result of the DNA of 2 individuals who in turn were the creation of the DNA that came before them all the way back in time. Think about that. Think about all the factors that went in creating this absolutely unique human being that is you. No one on this planet is or ever has been or ever will be quite like you. No time on this planet has ever been quite like this moment in which we all find ourselves. Our very existence together, here at this place and in this time, even within this congregation, is both a mystery and a wonder. And this is the mystery that Denise Levertov is writing about in her poem. As she writes, the mystery that there is anything at all, let alone cosmos, joy, memory, everything, rather than just void. We are all proof that something exists rather than the void. And in considering this poem and considering this service, I was reminded of a source of mystery and wonder for me as a child. For me, that was the 1980 television series Cosmos with Carl Sagan. How many of you remember or were inspired by Carl Sagan, right? So there's this one episode where he's walking high on these cliffs above the ocean, and waves are crashing all about, and he says, "The cosmos is full beyond measure of elegant truths, of exquisite interrelationship, of the awesome machine of nature." He goes on to say, "The surface of the earth is the shore of the cosmic ocean. On this shore, we've learned most of what we know. Recently, we've waded a little way out, maybe ankle deep, and the water is inviting. And some part of our being knows this is where we come from. We long to return, and we can, because the cosmos is within us. We are made of star stuff. We are a way for the cosmos to know itself." Wow. We are a way for the cosmos to know itself. If one were to use religious language, some language that has gone to have a certain meaning in a Christian sense, but one that we can reclaim ourselves, we can see that we are the incarnation of the mystery that is the universe. Or, we are the mystery of the universe made flesh. Now, as Levertov shares in her poem, we modern humans tend to forget about the mystery in which lies beneath the clamor of our lives. And there's a danger of this. Because what would our lives be like if there were no mystery? I mean, it exists. If we think about all these things, it exists, but if we quit paying attention to it, what would our lives be like? Because mystery sparks wonder and humility and reverence. And that's what I want to explore today, those specific gifts of mystery: wonder, humility, and reverence. Now, as we consider the wonder and humility, that's one of the reasons why I offered this story this morning. The writer Annika Harris shares the story of this little girl, Ava, and her mother going on a walk. And she notes, as the author notes, that the inspiration for the story was actually helping to teach children to say, "I don't know." She noticed her own children were reaching an age where they were making up responses to questions where they didn't know the answer. And she said, after all, she pointed this out, children, quote, too often see adults avoiding questions and fabricating answers out of either embarrassment or fear, and this comes with a price. So she really believes that we need to help children understand the power of saying, "I don't know," and that this, in turn, instills both joy and curiosity. It cultivates awe and wonder, which she points out, awe and wonder, those are foundational pieces for all learning. And I specifically want to point out that notice her observation that the children aren't doing this by themselves when they suddenly stop saying, "I don't know," and make up answers. They're modeling adults who are hiding what they don't know, therefore skirting all the benefits of enjoying mystery and wonder. Now, how many of you know adults who struggle with saying, "I don't know"? Right? We got a few hands here, right? I'm sure some folks online as well. So Harris points specifically to this idea of wonder, but I would also say saying "I don't know" has a piece of humility to it as well. It puts us in a specific place, understanding that there are things bigger than us. So mystery offers us those gifts of wonder and humility. And humility points toward that final gift that I was talking about, which is reverence. And I want to spend some time talking about reverence and how it connects to mystery, and specifically how it connects to our tradition of Unitarian Universalism. Because a critique sometimes made of Unitarian Universalists, both from within UUism and without, is that we, over time, have completely lost a sense of reverence. Some of you may remember a movement in the early 2000s, for those of you that were here, or maybe in another UU congregation, there was this movement to try to return a language of reverence to Unitarian Universalism. And I do believe that that language we use as UUs, especially those of us in ministry and those of us that have gone through the formation process to become ministers, it's shifted in the last couple decades because of this and other changes. And I think all that is important because if we consider reverence and the role that it does or does not play in our faith tradition, it's an important piece of us to think about, because otherwise we tend to get too heady, and we, even as Unitarian Universalists, we tend to think we know the answers to everything, even though we definitely are about questions. See, for much of our history as Unitarians, Universalists, and Unitarian Universalists, we've embraced the existence of the transcending mystery and wonder as one of the sources of our faith. The most recent articulation of our inspirations as UUs comes from the rewrite of the Article 2 bylaws of the UUA's bylaws, and it specifically names these experiences, transcending experiences of mystery and wonder, it names them as primary sources. The latest proposal says that our UUs are inspired by the direct experience of transcending mystery and wonder. They are primary sources of Unitarian Universalist inspiration. These experiences open our hearts, renew our spirits, and transform our lives. And this is not, even though the words here are new, this is by no means new for us in our faith tradition. One of the most famous expressions of this inspiration in our tradition comes from 19th century transcendentalist Ralph Waldo Emerson, who wrote an essay in 1836 called Nature. And in that he writes, "In the woods, standing on bare ground, my head bathed by the blithe air and uplifted into infinite space, all mean egotism vanishes. I become a transparent eyeball. I am nothing. I see all the currents of the universal being circulate through me. I am part and parcel of God." I think there are hints of wonder and humility and reverence in this famous passage. And I feel like it contains a similar sense of transcendence and reverence that's echoed in Carl Sagan's description from Cosmos that I read earlier. Now, a little bit of a history aside to understand the context of this and why this was so important and why that specific piece has remained so famous is Emerson and his fellow transcendentalists, they have had a significant impact on our faith tradition. Yet, in their time, they remained on the fringes of Unitarianism. Emerson himself was kind of a reluctantly ordained Unitarian minister. His family was in the ministry. And he left ministry just a few years after being called to his first congregation, likely due to his disillusionment with the profession and with religious institutions in general. So in 1838, years after he left the ministry and just a few years after publishing Nature, he was actually invited to deliver an address at his alma mater, which was Harvard Divinity School, which at that time was a firmly Unitarian establishment since the early 19th century. And his lecture has since been published as a famous essay called The Divinity School Address. And it's really famous. It is still around. We still read it in seminary and elsewhere. But it got him banned from speaking at Harvard for 3 decades, despite it deeply influencing a whole new generation of ministers, some of who were there to hear that address in person. See, his address spoke of the importance of individual experience and personal insight. And this in and of itself wasn't heretical, because 20 years earlier, William Ellery Channing, who is considered the father of American Unitarianism, emphasized personal experience and insight, especially in the form of reason. And he emphasized them as more important than scripture. Consider that this is the early 19th century, right? So he's saying that the personal experience and insight, especially in the form of reason, is more important than scripture. This was one of, at his time, that was one of the many liberal religious heresies that got him to, and others that were with him, to then create the Unitarian Church in this country. Channing believed that we could better understand God by looking inside ourselves. But the problem with Emerson all these years later at Harvard Divinity School is that he took the focus of individual experience and personal insight to a whole new level by declaring that institutional religion was completely outdated and naming inner spiritual connection as what is most important. He's really naming it as the primary thing. So when we see this articulation of Unitarian Universalist inspiration published in 2023, declaring direct experience of transcending mystery and wonder as a primary source for our inspiration, we're seeing a direct 187-year nod to Emerson and the Transcendentalist movement. So the legacy of the Transcendentalists, it endures, both within and outside Unitarian Universalism. I mean, the first time I read Ralph Waldo Emerson and Nature was way before I even knew anything about Unitarian Universalism. I read it in English class in college. Now, one of the critiques of his legacy and the legacy of the Transcendentalists has been that the current toxic hyper-individualism that can be found in our wider culture and sometimes even within our own faith tradition can be traced back to that sense of self-reliance and focus on self-experience that came from them. There's much to be explored, but that is a completely separate sermon, because you can't throw that all out, because there's a legacy of individual experience and individual insight as the primary source of spirituality, specifically those direct experiences of transcending mystery and wonder that endure and that play a big role for us as Unitarian Universalists, and that we should not ignore. And I think one of the reasons why this source of inspiration has endured, specifically within our tradition, is because it can be embraced by Unitarian Universalists who consider themselves Christian, Jewish, Muslim, or humanist. Right? You can experience a transcending connection to whatever you consider a higher power. It might be God, it might be the universe, it could be our interconnection as human beings. But those experiences can still occur. And they can occur walking in the woods. They can occur reading scripture. They can occur connecting to another human being or contemplating the cosmos, right? In these experiences, they all instill within us a sense of reverence, reminding us that as individuals and as a species, we're not really the center of the universe. Reverence ensures that we retain a deep respect for the natural order of the universe as well as our place in it. And it seems to me we need to be reminded of that over and over again. In other words, we're not really the ones running the show, but we have all been blessed individually to play a part in it. And we can each play a role in helping not to mess it up for everybody else. So mystery with a capital M. That's what we are exploring this month in all the ways that we are celebrating. Because without mystery, curiosity, humility, and reverence would be stifled. We might be tempted to cease our lifelong learning and pretend that we already have all the answers. But if we remember that mystery surrounds us and it's within us, right? We are the incarnation of mystery, as I opened up with. If we think about that, isn't it miraculous that anything exists? Isn't it miraculous that you and I exist at all? I think our call as we enter into the season is to hold that for ourselves and each other. I've been offering a reflection question at many of our services this year. And I suggest to you that as we depart and as we move into the weeks ahead, and as we observe the different holidays this month, through our own services and activities, we're going to be observing Hanukkah and the winter solstice and Christmas. And we explore mystery as it relates to those holidays. And as you celebrate your own holiday traditions, whatever it may be, take time to consider for yourself, what role does mystery and wonder play in your life? So for our closing hymn today, we have a traditional Christian hymn for Advent. Advent being the season of waiting for the birth of Jesus, of God incarnate, right, from a Christian perspective. O come, Emmanuel. Some of you are probably familiar with this. Now, Emmanuel means God who dwells among us. And this version of the hymn that we're going to sing today, which is in our hymnal, has actually been rewritten for Unitarian Universalists. So as we have considered ourselves the incarnation of mystery today, and as a way for the cosmos to know itself, this song felt more and more appropriate for the closing of the service. So as we sing this together, consider, what if Emmanuel is the welcoming in of the God of mystery and wonder in our lives, or just the experience of mystery and wonder in our lives? So let us connect to this as we sing together. Please rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn. It's 225 if you want it in your gray hymnal.
May we join our voices together one final time this morning as we extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this chalice flame, but not our promise to each other, to act with grace, to hold each other in love, to serve this community and our world. This promise of the heart serves as a reminder of how we live together. May it bring joy to our collective lives.
Let us part with the words of Reverend Joan Javier Duval. May we embrace the mystery that surrounds us. May we sink deep into the truth of our unity, even amidst life's discord. May we keep our hearts open to those moments of more than mortal splendor, when there is indeed a touch of glory in just being alive. Blessed be. Amen. Thank you, Matt, for that lovely music today. Thank you, Susan Usatine, for being our worship associate. Thank you to Phil and John for keeping our tech running smoothly. Please join us. We're going to have our holiday craft fair happening in this space. A couple